Yeah, hi guys, good afternoon. So in today's session, we'll discuss about Argo CD. Okay, so what we have did previously, we have used our Jenkins server. Okay, so this is our Jenkins server. So in this Jenkins, we have our application, right? So what happened? I mean, by with the help of Jenkins, what we have did, we have created one job related to our application. So that is our continuous integration job, right? And then we had one more job which is related to Docker build and push job. Means this job will help us to create this application in containerized form and push the job to the Docker registry. Okay, now where are we deploying our application? So we are deploying our application on the Kubernetes cluster. So we have been working on Kubernetes from last 1 week, right? So this is our Kubernetes cluster, and in this cluster we have how many nodes? We have one master, and then we have how many nodes do we have?
3 nodes, worker 1 and worker 2.
2 nodes.
So in your case, in your office, how many nodes are available?
N number of nodes.
Not n number of nodes. You can say as one master and 6 worker nodes or 8 worker nodes. Okay. So now what is happening is, so we have used our Jenkins job, which will help us to create our continuous integration pipeline, and then we have our Docker build and Docker push job, which will help us to create our application in the containerized platform. Then end deployment should be done with the help of Argo CD. Okay, but why Argo CD? What is Argo CD? Argo CD. Argo CD will help us to deploy, manage, and also update our deployments on Kubernetes cluster. So this tool or this service will help us to deploy, manage, update our deployments on Kubernetes cluster. Okay, so all these days what we were doing, we were trying to deploy our application manually, right? So we were trying to create some pods, we were trying to create some replica sets, we were trying to create some services manually. But when it comes to any project, right? Guys, 1 second, guys. Okay, so sorry guys. Okay, let us continue. Okay, so what we were trying to do, we were trying to create our replica sets, services, and different objects, right? Secrets, config maps, everything manually. Yes or no? But when it comes to any project, that will not be the case. Means there are very less chances where they might use manual process. And the best story what we can show them is we do the deployments or we manage the deployments with the help of Argo CD. Okay, so why not Jenkins? Why are we using Argo CD? We have Jenkins for our CI/CD, right? But why again Argo CD? Yes or no?
Yes, sir. Auto steering.
So what will happen? So we can also deploy our Kubernetes, our application with the help of Jenkins. But the problem will be, for example, if I have deployed on Kubernetes cluster, right? So the Jenkins will not be able to get the complete details of our cluster, means the actual state and the desired state. For example, this is my manifest file. Manifest means deployment file. So here I am configuring as replicas equal to 5. And I have executed this deployment by using kubectl, apply -f, and then deployment.yaml. So what will happen? My Jenkins will be able to deploy my replicas, 5 replicas on these node machines. Yes or no? It
Yes,
will
sir. Yes.
do our job. But what will happen? For example, I have logged in manually to my cluster. I have logged in manually to my cluster and I have edited the deployment from number of replicas from 5 to 6. For example, I have deployed one more pod over here. Okay, the number was 5 and I have made this number to 6. Okay, so now what will happen? So this is our actual state. Which is our actual state? This is our actual state. Sorry. This is my actual state and this is my desired state. Okay. So, so with the help of Jenkins, how many pods I have created? I have created 5 pods, but manually I have updated it to 6. So this is my actual state and this is my desired state. Means there is no synchronization between my Jenkins and my Kubernetes cluster. Means if someone is trying to update my cluster or pods manually, then Jenkins is unable to fetch the details. So what will happen if suppose I have I have updated my deployment and re-executed my job. Then what will happen again? It will try to deploy 5, but my requirement was 6. This will be changed from number of pods from 6 to 5 again, back to normal. Okay, so there is no synchronization in between Jenkins server and Kubernetes cluster, and anyone can manually change from Kubernetes cluster, and Jenkins will unable to fetch the details. That's the reason what happened. We are using Argo CD. So what will happen if I'm using Argo CD? So Argo CD will always try to maintain the actual state and the desired state. Means both should be equal. For example, I have deployed same five pods on my cluster and I have manually updated this to 6. Then Argo CD will automatically check for the actual state and the desired state. Means both should be same and it will delete this one. What it will do? It will delete this one. And this will bring back this number to 5. Means any change should be from Argo CD only. We cannot change manually. So with the help of this, we can completely control our cluster. Okay, and the changes can only be made from the Argo CD. We cannot change manually. Okay, that's the reason. If any project where they are using Kubernetes, then for sure they will be using Argo CD as well. I can say, as of now in the market, 40 to 50% of companies are using Argo CD. So this will add a advantage and weightage to your resumes. That's the reason we have implemented Argo CD in this batch. Understood? So instead of deploying from Jenkins, we'll redirect this deployment to the Argo CDs. Okay. So now I will showcase this exercise as well. Okay. Before doing this, let me just provision my Jenkins server. So this is my Jenkins. Let me try to connect. System status Jenkins. Sorry. Okay, Jenkins is running. So let me try to check the public IP :8080. Okay, so admin. So now how many jobs do we have here? We can see hiring app CI. This is our continuous integration job. If you remember how many jobs we have used. How many jobs have we used?
4.
3 jobs. One is for continuous integration, which will execute 6 different stages for us, right? So initial will be git clone, okay, and then SonarQube, and then this is our SonarQube, and then Maven compilation to compile the source code, and then we have the Nexus job, and then we have our different job. Okay, so this part I will explain you guys. So let me first try to execute my continuous integration job, but before that I just want to set up my Nexus and SonarQube as well. Okay, so Docker PS Jenkins is normal, I mean standalone Jenkins, and SonarQube and Nexus are containerized one. Okay, so let me start them. Start FBB and then 499. Okay, Docker PS. Now we can see 2 containers are been provisioned. In the meantime, let me try to access them. So this is my public IP colon 8081 then colon 9000. and 9000. Okay, so this process, we are aware of this process, right? I mean continuous integration job. Yes or no? You guys are aware of this process, how this is happening?
Yes, sir.
It will take some time to set up this. I mean couple of, I mean at least I think 40-50 seconds to start our servers. Okay, so we have got our SonarQube, which is up and running, and this is my Nexus. Let me try to start Nexus as well. Username is admin and password is also admin. Oh my god, DevOps server 123. Yes. Okay, so this is my SonarQube, and meantime what happened to Nexus? Yeah, Nexus is also provisioning. And Nexus, let me try to log in to Nexus as well. Admin. Okay, here I have created one repository, and that repository name is hiring app. If you can see this, this is my repository. Okay, and this is my project which I have pushed yesterday, I mean for testing. Okay, and here you can see this job. If I'll go to the configurations, this is where from the code is been getting fetched. Okay, git clone stage, which will help us to check out the source code, and then SonarQube integrations to run the code on the, I mean to push the code on the SonarQube server, and then this is my Maven what I have configured. Okay, this is my Nexus details and credentials. Okay, and if I'll click on save, let me remove this. Okay, and click on save. So we have got one job now, continuous integration job. Before that, let me just configure the Sonar scanner. I mean this IP will get changed, right? So let me copy this, or else my job will get failed. Sonar scanner cdconf vi Sonar scanner properties. Okay, so this is my new IP address. I mean the IP has been changed, so I am updating that IP. So I think we are good. So let me execute this job. Build now. Build number 9. If you see this, checkout done, and we are seeing some issues at SonarQube. Okay, SonarQube scanner. The server is unable to reach. So if I click here, okay, the thing is, I mean in manage Jenkins also I need to update these details. Okay, tools. SonarQube details, I think in system configuration, right? This was the old IP which it is trying to pick. Okay, I need to update these details as well. So let me just copy this. But when it comes to real time, right, these servers will be always up and running. So you will not be changing this each and every time. As of now, we will be shutting down our servers after exercise, right? So that's the reason this is getting failed. Okay, but when it comes to project, do not expect that your servers will be down. No, it will be always up and running. Hiring app, and then let me just click on build now. Build number 10. Okay, SonarQube analysis has been successfully done. Now Maven is trying to create a package for me, and then once this package is created, then the package will be pushed to the Nexus Artifactory. I think this will also get failed because I haven't updated the Nexus URL. This will get failed for sure, because if you see this 54.89, right, and my new URL is 54.157. So let me just try to configure this again. Okay, where is my Nexus? 8081. Okay, so this is my updated URL 54.157, right? Yes. Let me click on save. And let me try to build this again. What will happen now? This job will be pushing the reports to the SonarQube. It will create the package, and then it will push the package to our central repository, that is Nexus. See, my job has been successfully completed. So if you go to Nexus server, browse, and then hiring app, then here we can find our artifact. So this is one job what we have executed. Okay, continuous integration job with 6 stages. And then we were talking about second job, that is Docker build and push the job to repository, means Docker Hub repository or registry. Image to Docker Hub registry. So this is our second job. So here, if you see this, if I'll go to my Jenkins, I have already configured that job as well. Okay, same hiring app build push. So this is my second job. And if I'll open to configurations, here I'm using one Jenkins pipeline. Okay, earlier what I have used freestyle job. If you want to convert that into a pipeline, then you can also do that. But what I have used one job as freestyle, okay, and one job as pipeline. So this is my repository. If I'll go to my repository, then you can find, if you see the Jenkins file, then you can find stages. See, first stage, what it is doing. First, what it will do, it will check out the code and it will try to build my Docker file. If you see this, yes, so build Docker image. And then I have configured some credentials related to my Docker Hub account. With the help of these credentials, this will log in to this will try to log into this user, and my password is stored in this particular credentials. Okay, and then it is trying to push this job. So base 050 hiring app and based upon build number. So build number is nothing but one parameter, environmental variable or global parameter, which is available in Jenkins by default. Means you can call this parameter anywhere if you want. Okay, so out of this, what it will do, it will try to create one image and push one image. And if you'll see my repository, here you will find the Docker file as well. Means this is the Docker file what I am trying to use. So what is the base image? Tomcat 8.0.20, and then this is my Nexus URL. Means my artifact is getting downloaded from Nexus, means from this particular location. Okay, here if you see this, it is asking me to pass the URL of the repository. So how to get that URL? If you go to the repository, if you go to hiring app, then you can find this repository URL. So let me just update this URL as well. And then artifact path, from where it can find the artifact. So we need to go to again my artifact hiring app, and if I click here, then you can find this path. So this is the same path what I have configured here as well. So no need to update this. Okay, and then if you see this add command, so why do we use add? Add will be used to download from internet, right? So this is what we have learned, and this is, I mean, as of now we are trying to implement the same. So it is trying to download my artifact from this particular URL and this particular artifact path and trying to store that in web apps. Okay, and then we are exposing the container port as 8080 and trying to run my Tomcat. Okay, commit changes. So what happened? Now when I execute my second job, this will download the source code from this URL and then it will execute job. I mean, two stages. One is to build my image based upon the build number, and one is to push the image to my Docker registry. Here if you'll see, the current build number is 32, right? So if I try to build this now, let us see what will happen. See, first is checking out the source code, and then it is trying to Docker build got failed. So let me check what happened. Okay, there is some issue with this, right? So let me just try to provide permissions. Okay, here if you see this stage, Docker build got permission denied because we have configured by using root user and we are trying to execute with the help of Jenkins user, right? So it will not have permission. So in general, what we can do, we can just copy this path. This is where I am trying to run. I mean, this is my single box setup, guys. I'm using only one server to install everything. Okay, so chmod 777, and the server capacity is large. Okay, I'm trying to provide full permissions. And if I try to rerun this job again, this time the build number will be 34. See, build number 34. What happened? See, Docker build. See, Docker build 34, and then it is trying to execute these commands, and it has been logged into my Docker Hub registry, and it has pushed my image as well. Okay, and then it got failed because of some XYZ. Achha, this is also passed, so I will help you also to understood what is this. Okay, so for now just focus on these two jobs. I mean, sorry, these two stages. So if I'll go to my Jenkins Docker images, here you can see hiring app 34 image, which has been created 41 seconds ago. Okay, and if I'll go to my Docker Hub registry, if I'll go to my hiring app, then here we can see 34 build number, which has been pushed 1 minute ago. Understood?
Yes, everyone.
This is good.
Yeah.
Until now it is good.
Yeah. So after this also it will be good only. Okay. So now my requirement is, so what is happening? So whenever I'm trying to, I am trying to build this job, and then again trying to come to this job and trying to build this job. Now what I want is my job, I mean first job, if this has been triggered successfully, means if this has been triggered successfully, then this should execute this job. Okay, so if this job is successfully completed, then this should automatically trigger this job. Means I will not trigger manually, it should trigger automatically. For that purpose, we have two concepts in Jenkins. One is upstream jobs, second is downstream jobs. Okay, so this concept we can use in Jenkins, which will help us to trigger the jobs automatically. So where we need to configure in post build actions. Okay, in our case, this will be my upstream job. Means if my upstream job is successfully executed, then execute this job, or else do not execute. Understood? What do you mean by upstream jobs and downstream jobs? This will help us to execute the job automatically if the job one has been successfully completed. Okay, yes or no?
Yes.
So now, so let me configure which is our upstream job, continuous integration job, right? So let me just go to my job, hiring app CI. So this is my job, right? So where can we go? Let me go to configurations, and we need to go post build actions. Select this. Here we have build other projects. If this is not available, then you need to install the plugin related to this. Okay, so if I click here, then it is asking which job you want to build. So I need to copy the job name. I am not aware of the job name, so let me just go to my dashboard only, click here, and then copy this job name. When this job should be triggered, if the first job is getting failed, then also it should trigger, or if it is stable or unstable. Means I just want to trigger this job if only my first job is successful, because if this job is not successfully completed, then there is no use of building Docker image, right? Because all the latest version of code is in this job only. Based upon this package only, we are trying to create the image, right? So I want this job to be triggered only if my hiring app continuous integration job is successfully done. So if I click on save, now if I'll trigger this build now, see hiring app CI only for testing. Okay, so if I'll click on build now, let us see what will happen. Here if you'll see hiring app CI is been getting executed, build number 12. So it will execute all the stages for us. So what are the different stages we have, guys? Continue. Unmute yourself. And what are the different stages we have?
If you want to join the process, then I have to check the quality of the code. I have to compile the package.
Yeah, now here you
Access
see
to
this is in queue. See, automatically this has been executed. Sorry to interrupt you, Aman. And very good. Okay. So what happened? So this is trying to execute my job as well. See, this job has been successfully executed. I mean these stages. Do not focus about these stages because I haven't explained about this. I will explain you about this as well. For now, just focus on this. See, build number 35, right? So if I'll go to my Jenkins, sorry, my Docker Hub repositories, hiring app. Now build number 35. See, build number 35 has been pushed few seconds ago. Means our downstream job is getting triggered when the upstream job has been successfully completed. Downstream job means the last job which is dependent. Okay. Now, so we have two jobs. Now what's the third job? Our third job should help us to deploy on the Kubernetes cluster, right? So as per this diagram, so we have two jobs, CI and push job. Third job is to deploy on the Kubernetes cluster. Yes or no?
yes.
Without deploying, it's of no use for us, right? So what we'll do? So we need to set up Argo CD. So where are we going to set up Argo CD? We will be setting up Argo CD inside our Kubernetes cluster only. Means in this cluster we need to set up Argo CD. Argo CD. So once this Argo CD has been configured inside this cluster, then this will be able to access all the cluster details. Means you cannot execute any Kubernetes command from the Jenkins server, but it is possible from Argo CD because we are also installing Argo CD on the same cluster. This will be asked in interviews. Where is your Argo CD setup? You should say that your Argo CD is configured inside your Kubernetes cluster. Then only it will be able to fetch a number of nodes and other details as well. So now let us switch back to our Kubernetes. Okay, so here if you see this, so we have one master and two worker nodes. If I'll connect to my master machine, let me just check this one, I mean kubectl, to check if we have the connectivity or not. Okay, kubectl get ports. So as of now we don't have any ports. Okay, kubectl get nodes. See, 3 machines are up and running. Means my cluster is ready. Now I can configure my Argo CD. So in order to download or configure Argo CD, just go to Google, install Argo CD. Then you can find the very first documentation from the Argo CD. If you click this, okay, here we have two different commands, kubectl create namespace. So what is namespace?
It's a proof of application.
So each namespace will be related to a specific application, we can see. So if you'll see this kubectl, how to check namespaces, Shilpa? What's the command to check namespaces? One sec. Yeah, one, very good. Okay, let me try to log in from git bash. So Argo CD will follow the GitOps principles. Okay, so this is my master kubectl get ns. Here you can see one cluster has, I mean one namespace is already created. I have created this 20 hours ago, means yesterday. So how I have created? I have executed this command, kubectl create namespace. Okay, and then if you'll do this apply, what will happen? This will help us to, here you can see kubectl apply -n means namespace Argo CD and -f, and this is my YAML file. So this will help us to set up my Argo CD. So with the help of these two commands, we can make sure that Argo CD is working. So if you want, we can check kubectl get pods -n. Which pods you want to check? Argo CD namespace pods. See, these are the different pods which are up and running. Once we execute that command, all these pods will be running. Okay, so once this is running, now here if you'll see, so this is first step, guys. And then if you want, you can download Argo CD CLI. So you can go to the CLI documentation from this link. Okay, and here if you see this curl command, so this will help you to install Argo CD CLI. Okay, so with the help of CLI as well, we can communicate. Okay, and then how to access Argo CD? So for that, first we need to expose our service. So with the help, if you'll execute this command, what will happen? See, service is getting created, right? So if you'll see this kubectl, why do we use services, guys?
To expose our application.
Yes, to expose our application. So here if you'll see this Argo CD server, So when I have executed this command, dash service argo cd -server, this is my service name, and this is trying to configure the load balancer service, means this is what happened. So on which port numbers I can access? I can access on port number 30173. Okay, so if let me just try to copy this and let me try to access my argo cd. And if I'll go to my, I want the public IP. I want the public IP of my master machine. I'll hit enter, say HTTPS, it is redirecting to HTTPS, advanced and unsafe, or proceed. Okay, so this is the UI or dashboard related to Argo CD. Okay, so login, username, admin, and password, I think admin. Okay, invalid password, I think I have forgot that password. Okay, let me try to fetch this password. Okay, from how, from where you guys can get the password? If you see this documentation, after exposing this, then if you'll execute this, it will try to fetch the password from the secret. Okay, so if I'll execute this command, see, this is the password. Okay, this is nothing but password from the secret. Okay, so if I'll use this password, click on say sign in, then we can see the dashboard related to our Argo CD. Let me just try to delete this application. Okay, so as of now, this is how you guys can see the dashboard of Argo CD. Understood how to set up Argo CD? Very straightforward process, guys. We just need to execute 3 or 4 commands and we can see our Argo CD setup. So where is our Argo CD now? Our Argo CD is in our Kubernetes cluster. So now, yeah, so now what we need to do is we need to store our, I mean, in general, so if you want to deploy any application, so what are the different files you will be creating in Kubernetes? If you want to deploy one application, what are the different files you will be creating?
Pod services, deployment.
You will create pod, you will create service, you will create deployment, you will create replica sets, you will create ingress, you will create volume. So these are the different files, right? Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
So now we need to have one deployment file and one service file so that my application can be deployed. Okay, so what I will do, so what will happen is, the moment if I have changed something, for example, so where is my repository? Where is my repository? So here I have 2 repositories. This repository is related to my application code. Okay, if I'll open this, and also if I'll open this Argo CD, this is one more job. So here we have 2 repositories. One is hiring app. So in this hiring app, what you can find Docker file, Jenkins file, and the details related to your application source code. Okay, and then we have one more job, hiring app Argo CD. So this repository contains your, if I'll open this repository contains your deployment and services files, which are used to deploy on the cluster. Because with the help of this deployment, what I can do, I can apply this and my setup will be done. Right? If I'll apply this, my setup will be done. Okay. So now what we are trying to do is we are trying to maintain our source code in one repository and our files in one repository. I mean our configuration files related to deployment. But why are we doing in this way? We can also store this application file and the deployment and service file in the same repository, right? Here also I can save. Yes, we can also save over here, but if I'll have completely different repository, then it will help me to protect my configuration files. Means very limited number of people will be having the access, and this access will be only, I mean, these files will be only modified via Jenkins only, not from any other tool. Okay, that's the reason we'll configure our configurations file in different repositories. Our source code will be in one repo, and our configuration file related to deployments will be in another repository. Okay, so once this is done, what we need to do is we need to tell our Argo CD, means how our Argo CD will understand where is our application code, where are our deployment files. So we need to tell our Argo CD that this is the place where you can find your deployment files and the configuration files related to the application. Okay, so for this purpose we have an application.yaml file. If I'll open this, okay, see API version and then kind application metadata. So this is something related to Argo CD. Okay, here I am telling my Argo CD, one second. Here I'm telling my Argo CD that this is the repository URL source code from where you can find all your deployment files. And then this is the destination server. Server will be same, guys, because we will be using default service, means kubectl get service. Sorry. So this will be available inside this service only, all our cluster details. So I am passing this service details over here. And then which namespace should be created? My app namespace should be created. And then I'm configuring sync policy. If you want to configure, you can configure, or else we can ignore. So what will happen if I'll configure the sync policy? Then if this namespace is not available, it will try to create and it will automatically try to heal. Means if some container is not running, sorry, if some pod is not healthy, then it will automatically try to restart that pod and make it healthy. Prune means once there is any changes, then it will try to delete the existing one. So this is my simple YAML file what I have configured to tell my Argo CD that this is the place. Based upon this configuration, you need to download my code. Okay, so where we need to execute this? So we need to download this on the master machine. So this is my location, CD hiring app. Okay, so this is my application.yaml file. Now you just need to execute kubectl apply -f and application.yaml. Once you'll execute this, it will get created. Now if you'll do this kubectl get ns-n Argo CD, then you can see one my app has been created. Okay, understood? So based upon this application.yaml file, we are telling our Argo CD that go and try to check for this particular repository. If there are any configuration files in this repository, then based upon that configuration files, you can deploy the cluster. Okay, see the moment I have informed here, you can see some dashboard has been created. The moment we have told or we have informed our Argo CD that go and check for this repository, sorry, go and check for this particular location. So it have started copying the details automatically. If I'll click this, now here you can see my Argo CD application. This is my app and this is my service and this is my pod. Okay, in this pod a replica set is getting created, so it will try to map us with all the details. See, there are different pods, 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8, total 8 pods are available. Let me okay, now you can see this, right? Okay, the moment we have informed our Argo CD to go and check for this location, it has automatically started syncing from this repository. because we have passed this repository, right? And this repository and the current repository is same. Okay, if I'll click here, then in dev we have our deployment.yaml and service.yaml. If I'll click on deployment.yaml, we can see our name of the deployment is my app, and the number of replicas are 8. And which image it should pick? This image it should pick. Same deployment file, there is no change in the deployment file. Okay, the regular deployment file what we used to do manually, we are just trying to store this in the central repository. So now what happened? My Argo CD, it has tried 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8, and this is my service. So if you click this, you can find very good options guys here. So if I'll go to my applications, right? So if I'll go to my applications, okay, this is my application, and we can also see the settings, not settings, we can see the complete event logs as well, app details and then event. So here you can see the logs, what happened 2 minutes ago, out of sync, because there are some mistakes as of now, because this job has failed, right? So because of this there have been some changes, because of that this is getting failed. Okay, so but understand one thing, that whenever there is a change in the repository, it is trying to automatically fetch these details. See, progressing, it is trying to check. And if you'll see here, kubectl get pods -m my app. See, 8 pods are been running, but we are seeing some issues. The pods are not healthy. Same status we are able to see on the Argo CD dashboards as well. If I click here, see, if I click on logs, see, waiting to start, trying to failing the full image, and the container number is, see, this is my deployment number, this is my namespace or my app deployment name, and then deployment number, and 4N FC7 is the pod name. Here if you see image pull backup, save events, it is trying to sync. Okay, you can find the different logs from this particular screen. This is good, right? Comparing to that of Jenkins, and even we can find all your manifest files. See, it is also showing us the manifest file. So try to explore these options, guys. Okay, go to this one, click on manifest. You can find all the manifest details. I mean, these details are related to our Argo CD, to tell my Argo CD related to my source code. Even see 4 minutes ago, out of sync. Okay, so what is happening now? Argo CD is automatically trying to fetch whenever there is a change in this particular file. For example, the issue is here, if you can see 03409, my repository name is 0509. Okay, because of this is getting failed. So let me just try to edit this manually and see what will happen. 0509, and there is one already image is available. If I'll go to my GitHub, image 32 is available, right? So if I just update this manually, so what will happen? Let us see what will happen. Okay, I haven't triggered any job, I haven't made any changes. I have just updated my deployment file in the central repository. And the moment I have updated, let us see what will happen, or else you can also see here this. Let us wait for some time, and you can also see some changes. And in the meantime, let me check if there are any other changes. And service, I'm using one node port service, guys. 32,000 port number is exposed, and I'm using the node port service to expose my cluster. See, it is trying to fetch something. Again, it is trying to check for every 3 minutes. It will try to check repository and try to update. Similar to our webhooks, whenever there is a change, what will happen? It will automatically trigger, right? So even Argo CD will follow the same principle. That principle comes under GitOps principles, guys. Whenever there is a change, it will get triggered. Understood? Others, no update.
Yes, sir.
If you want to refresh, then you can refresh from here. See, now see what is happening. See, all these pods are getting healthy. See, healthy, right? Because I have made some changes in it, and it has automatically redirected. So this was my old replica set, and this is my new replica set. And to this replica set, these pods are mapped. If you can you guys see this lining redirections? How it is going?
Yes.
So now if you see this, see it is terminating all the previous pods. Okay, means that replica set has been deleted. Now it will try to create a new replica set with the number called 79B. At last it is CDF. Okay, currently it is 67C. 67C. Okay. Now see running. Now we can see the different running pods over here. And this is the same output what it is getting reflected. Understood? So now we have got, whenever there is a change, it is automatically syncing. So deployment will be automatically happening whenever there is a change in the deployment file or on the GitHub repository. So now, for example, what I will do, okay, let me just try to close this. Okay, see how many pods are there? 1, 2, or else let me try to do the kubectl get pods -n my app -w watch -w, right? Okay, so how many pods are the same output, right? And let me just try to deployments. See how many pods? 8, and out of 8 are ready. So now what I will do is I will try to manually change on the cluster. Means what I have said, it will always check for the actual state and the desired state. Means if I'll do any manual changes, what will happen? Okay. So here this is my status. So I have two screens now. One is to monitor this and one is to make the changes. So that I can prove that. Okay. Let me just try to first clear the screen. Yes, okay. Now what I will do, I will try to update this kubectl, or before that let me just check the deployments. Kubectl deployments -n my app. Get deployments -n my app. Okay, so kubectl edit deployment, and then what is the name of deployment? My app is a deployment name, and then in which namespace? My app. So I'm trying to manually update my cluster. So from 8 replica sets, I will try to make this as 15 replica sets. And let me save this and let us see what is happening. See, this number has been 15 automatically, and then it has been again back to 8. Why? How it is possible? Because I have updated it manually to 15, then there should be 15 replicas running. But again, the number is back to normal because Argo CD, what it did, the moment it has observed this change, it went and checked for this repository. Okay, this is the source, right? So here it is 8. What it did? Okay, so here it is 8, so I need to maintain 8 only. So it has deleted the remaining replicas or pods for us. Understood?
Yes, sir.
This is pretty cool, right? No need to do anything, only one place to change. Means all the changes should be from GitHub repository. So what is happening here? We are able to get the complete control as well. We can secure our files. Means whoever is changing that, we will able to know who did the changes. So no one can log into the cluster and make the changes manually. That is not at all possible. If we are using Jenkins, then we can't do all this stuff in Jenkins. That's the reason everyone is moving to Argo CD. Argo CD is for continuous delivery. Okay, it will check for the environment. If it is ready, then it will deploy. That's it. That's what we have learned about delivery, right? So now, for example, if I have made one change over here, for example, instead of 8, I will just make it to 6. Commit changes, commit. See what will happen. Argo CD will take some time. It will see here it is trying to search from the head. Head means commit head. Okay. So what was the previous commit? 544. If you'll see this 544 means the commit history has been updated over here. This was my previous commit 7 minutes ago. Okay. Now if you'll see this is 686. Okay. So if I'll try to refresh this, see 686, and here it is trying to delete 2 pods. How many pods are there? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 only now. If you see this, see the number has been became to 6. Okay. It might look very confusing, but if you start executing this right, you can understand what is happening. So try to explore all the features available on Argo CD. It will automatically maintain, it will sync. See, sync is okay, sync is okay. If something is wrong, then this will be out of sync. Okay, and this is pretty fast in order to deploy as well, or in order to make any changes. So now what we have understood, if there is any change on the repository where we have our configuration files, then Argo CD will implement these changes. That's one thing. And another thing is, if someone is trying to make any changes manually, then Argo CD will try to delete that. Means it will not update the changes. No one can manually update the cluster. If they want to update, then they should make the changes in the deployment files only. So with the help of this, what will happen? I can track, see BetaBeans has updated. I can update which user has made the changes. So now what we'll do? So we have this job. Okay, same job, hiring app build push update. So what I want is, whenever my code is been getting changed, right? Means whenever there is a change in my code, okay, based upon this Docker file, means for example, there is one new update of application. So what should happen? My Argo CD should deploy that new application, right? So what we are trying to do here is, so we have 2 jobs, one is build and one is push. So this is what we have executed. So and then the third job is, it will try to download all the files related to Argo CD from that specific Argo CD configuration files. Okay, so it is trying to download all the files from the Argo CD, I mean our deployment.yaml and our manifest.yaml, and then it is trying to update that file and push to repository. So how it is updating? It is trying to check for that file deployment.yaml. Okay, and by default the number is 5. I mean this has been hard coded, and based upon the build number, the deployment.yaml file will get changed. Means where we are trying to pass the build number, if I'll go to my YAML, this number, this is where it will show the latest tag, right? So the latest tags are being modified based upon the build number. Yes or no? So it will try to, we are using ACD command to replace the word from 5 to build number. Means whatever build number is available, it should get executed or it should be updated. So once the changes have been updated, Git should add that change. It should commit the change, and then it should change the change. I mean, it should push the change. So once these changes are pushed to my repository, what will happen? Now Argo CD will try to fetch these details and it will make the deployment for us. Okay, so now let me try to make some change here from my code base, because the current build number is not 5, right? So here I am passing as 5. So let me just try to update my YAML manually for testing purpose. Okay, so build number is 5, so it will try to replace this number. Okay, now let me click on commit. Okay, updated. So now what I will do, I will go to my Jenkins. So if suppose I have got one ticket from the development team to deploy the application, then what I will do, I'll just go to my hiring app CI, click on build now, and I'll just sit for 10 minutes. So this job will create my package and then it will trigger the downstream job. In this downstream job, we are executing 4 different stages. One is Docker build, Docker push, update the manifest, and push the manifest to the central repository. See, it is trying to push this. So if I'll open this, see, Docker push is in progress with build number 36 image has been updated, and see, checkout has been updated, and the manifest file has been pushed to repository. So if I'll go here and if I'll refresh this page, then we can see build has been updated. See, just now it has been updated. So if I'll open this deployment.yaml file, then we can see the build number as 36. Same build number 36, right? Now if I'll go to my Argo CD, then we can see this. If I'll refresh this, we can see the change has been applied and the number of jobs pods are running are 6. See, it has updated my replica sets, my deployment, replica sets, and my pod. So everything is up to date now. So next what I can do, I need to access my application. So how to access my application? Since I have used Node port, so this will be exposed on the public IP, right? So this is my master machine. What was the port number? I have used 32,000. If you'll see this YAML, we have passed these details in the service.yaml. 32,000 / hiring, because this is my artifact name, right? So if I'll hit enter, what will happen is welcome to Techie Horizon. Okay, so what we have did, we have deployed. I mean, the only change what we are doing is in terms of these configuration files. Okay, so our job is now creating packages for us, building the Docker image, updating the manifest file, and deploying on Kubernetes cluster with the help of Argo CD. So now we have 6 pods, and if you want to access, then public IP of your master or slave, any machine. Okay, and then this is my port number, and then this is my app. So now what I will do, I will use this particular IP and configure in my GoDaddy. Then any user with techiehorizon.com will be able to access this. Flipkart.com, they will be able to access Flipkart. And if anyone wants to access Amazon, right, similar IPs will be there, and that IPs will be added to the Route 53. Okay, now if you want to update, then you can just again go to the configuration. So if suppose you want to scale up from 6 to 10, just update this one, and everything will be taken care by Argo CD. No need to do or click any file. Understood? So whenever we get any new changes, so what I will do, I will just execute my CA job, and the rest will be automatically happening in the background. I think I am done with this. Guys, understood?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yes, we need to execute after that. We get more
This is,
clarity.
yeah, so this is what you guys need to talk in interviews. How you are deploying? Argo CD. So where your Argo CD has been deployed?
Is that
Kubernetes cluster.
Kubernetes cluster. Since it is in the same cluster, it will be easily accessing. Okay, it can access the cluster details. If it is outside the cluster, then it will not be able to access. Okay, so and then where are your configuration files? In the same repository or different repository? Different repository. So what is your Jenkins doing?
Just triggering
The business integration part and building my Docker image, pushing the image and updating my manifest file. Once there is update, then Argo CD will automatically check for the change and deploy. See, it is still in progressing. Okay. If you want to check the events, just go to app details, go to events, then you can see what happened, when happened. So based upon these inputs, we'll get to understand. I mean, if something is not working right, then we can understand based upon these events. If you have passed any parameters, then we can see this over here. Manifest file, we can see this manifest file here. Okay, so try to explore these options. So you see progressing, degraded. So this is the status of our pod. Here you can also see my app, only my app. So you can, if you want to deployment, just see the deployment. If you want to see the service. If you want to see the replica, sorry, not pod, replica sets. See, you can monitor everything from Argo CD only. What is the version of Argo CD we are using? 2.8.
0.8.4.
Yes. Okay. Now with this, how many projects we have completed? First project was to deploy on Tomcat. Second was on the ECS. Third was on the Kubernetes cluster. So now you can assume, okay, I mean, based upon your company application or requirement, you guys can make the changes, but the process will be similar. Okay, so be confident while talking about this in interviews. Okay. So what I'm expecting from you is by end of tomorrow, I mean tomorrow is Sunday, right? But tomorrow EOD, guys, make sure that you are working tomorrow as well from home. So let me stop this recording.